Long stories, it's either like then we can't afford for me to continue or he leaves. Like we separated 7 times. Like this is the 7th time that I just let him go. The other times I would fast and pray and rebuke the devil and his mother-in-law, and my husband would come back. God gives you what you ask. The one thing about God, God will give you what you ask. Whether it's good for you or not, God will give you. Ooh, guys. I cannot believe where I am. I cannot believe where I am. Like, do you guys know where I am? I am coming to you live from Scent Studios. Yes. Woo! I'm beside myself. I'm beside myself. Behind the cameras, we have Ndivu. Yo, guys, those who don't know, Ish, I feel for you. I feel for you. Those who do not know, Ish, my hands need to behave. We're not used to these things. Let me do my greeting. Hola, Kinaleta, aka Mahadi, not Mahali. I'm the girl that calls 4 countries home. I call Lesotho home. I call South Africa home. I call the UK home. And I call Australia home. Woo! Welcome to my channel. I am so excited and very, very grateful because, like, on my way here, I was so nervous. So I'm so happy that, like, right now I'm feeling excitement. Right. Okay, guys. So, like, I had this, remember on the previous video, those who have watched my recently uploaded video, because I'm thinking this one is probably going to be the next upload. I had mentioned that I booked a studio. I'm going to be having guests. I'm going to be doing this and that. That was the plan. Like, all my guests have let me down. All 3 of them have had things going on, legit things, but it just has not worked out. And my last guest that was meant to come today canceled this morning. So I've just landed this morning from Durban, from my brother's place, and I am now in Johannesburg. So Durban is another city in South Africa. So I'm now in Johannesburg, which is like the main city in South Africa. And basically I drove straight here for this booking, and my person could not come. And I was thinking, goodness me, do I cancel? Because I haven't prepared anything else. Like, I had a fun video that was going to happen with my guest. But I thought, you know what? Just brave it. Just go. Just speak what's in your heart. And on the plane, like, I was so sad. And I thought, okay, I'll just come talk about what's making me sad. But now I'm so excited. I was telling Divu that, like, I was really sad, and I thought, okay, this is a perfect topic to talk about while I'm in the mode, while the emotions are matching my topic. But now, since I've seen her, I'm so excited. So I don't know. But so I want to talk about, like, guys, the difficulty of living overseas, living away from family. Also, like, more so having children that are not just brought up overseas, but who were born overseas. Now, I'm not talking about the general difficulty that, like, people have with overseas issues, like everyone who's moved from home to a different country, or specifically, overseas, whatever country, be it America, the UK, wherever. So I live in Australia, for those who are new here. As you've heard, like, my 4 countries. And it is tough. Like, it's got its own challenges just being there. But I'm talking specifically because now I am in a mode where I really want to move back home. And home is here, South Africa, Lesotho. That's what I mean when I say home. So right now, a bit of background. I am in South Africa for a funeral, it was for my mother-in-law's funeral. That's how I'm home. So as a result, then, it sort of like became a holiday visit. And, as a result, I got to see my family. Now, one of the scariest things with being overseas or living far from home is losing loved ones. And being here right now for the reason I'm here for has been, it has hit me hard. It truly has hit me hard. I've been hit so hard because of the person I have lost. And it's also just reminded me of the reality, how, life, fickle life is. It's like we're so far away from our parents. Our parents are dying. Yesterday, I got news my other friend has just lost mom, They woke up and mom did not wake up. It's like, wow, our parents are going, I lost my father during COVID. I was all the way in Australia, locked down. I could not come home, to lay him to rest. I still haven't quite dealt with that. Like I still can't, if I see his picture or something, like there's a time I was sitting with mom, like during the weekend, she got out her phone. I don't know what she was doing, and she has dad as her screen saver. I saw that and I had to look away very quickly because, I got startled. I also got emotional. Like I felt myself. I was like, oh my goodness. I haven't quite dealt with this, And he died 2021, He died on my birthday, actually my 40th birthday. And he died soon after my husband had left. So there was that I was dealing with. I just could not deal with both of them. And I was just telling my brother last night that, I realized that I still haven't. I know I've mentioned it here before, if you've been here before. I've mentioned it here that I have sort of like shelved it, that, okay, I've lost dad, let's shelve it. I mean, in the moment, after I got the news, I dealt with it so I thought, cried, broke down, everything that we all do. But it's still so heavy on me. I'm still not used, like I'm saying, I'm still not used to seeing his face. I'm still not used to, like my sister sent in the family group an audio of him. So he was a pastor. My sister sent him his sermon. I think someone sent that. And my mom was so happy because mom has been wanting to hear his voice. And for me, I couldn't. I played it. I heard his voice. I stopped it immediately. When you stop something, like you've seen something, like something, I'm like, oh my goodness, when are we dealing with this? When, So it's like everything hits even harder. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to say like, when we are far away from home, it hits harder than when you're closer. But it does feel that way because you want closure. You want to be there and you can't, And he just died at such a, such a sensitive time where I was dealing with so much. So I still am struggling with that even today. It's been 4 years because my ex moved out 2020 and we got divorced 2022. So it's been that long, and yet it doesn't feel that long. Like it feels like one long, dreadful, heavy year, It just feels. And the thing with that is when you think you are done with it, when you think, okay, I'm used to things now, so he's married as well. He got married last year. So he's been married a year now. And I've met the wife, as I mentioned in the previous video, and she's lovely. She's a lovely girl. And, she loves my kids. My kids love her. My kids love her son. I mean, these things have not happened. Like now I talk about them like, okay, this happened, that happened. This is what's happening. This is how things are. And we're okay with it. Like we have dealt with it, but it hasn't always, when it was happening, it was, it was verifying me. Like it was hard, if you've been here before, you have seen me and witnessed me bleeding on YouTube, bleeding, and I've met some of you who have said, like, you missed me on YouTube. I left you hanging. I spoke about this, and then I just went quiet on you. So yeah, I've gone through, like, you guys have seen how ugly healing is, So I've gone through therapy, and I've used YouTube as my therapy because it was working for me, I have stepped on toes. There's people I've offended by being here, and there's people I've helped by being here, And I have, like, I'm so proud of myself that I've managed to stay true to myself during that time, during what I was going through, to just be myself and shut all other voices and advice. Like people who love me didn't like seeing me like that, and also they were afraid for me. Like they don't want, like, what people are saying, what people might say, what people, and people believe in me, because I would say it's people who love me, but who maybe don't quite believe in me and my individuality, and that I'm able to stand for myself, and I'm able to make my own decisions, and that I've actually thought everything through, and I'm okay with what I'm doing, They've really felt like they need to protect me because I need help. Like, no, stop. They've felt that way. And there are people who have been so proud of me that I have done this. Like, wow, you're so brave. You're so courageous. I've gotten quite a lot of that from a lot of you. I have not felt like I am brave, but you guys have felt like I am brave, and I thank God because He has given me the courage to live my life authentically, despite maybe like questions that I may encounter, or judgment, or, So with that, sort of background, then I meet the new wife. I meet her in Perth. I go say hi, and then I meet her again at my son's show. So the first time I meet her, it's at my daughter's show. Like my kids are also like in I say also because I'm like part qualified. I did Bachelor of Arts in Theatre and Drama. So they are drama kids as well. Like from when they were little, I just took them to this drama thing and they just loved it. So we, went to my daughter's show. She was playing, what's this thing? Wizard of Oz. She was Dorothy. And my son was playing, it's a Christian theater thing, just playing Haman in that play. It was a play of Esther. So I saw them there, but I didn't quite get to talk to her. And then the third time I saw her was at the airport when they were coming here for mom's burial. And then I see her again at home, So for me, it's sort of like, it was different seeing her than knowing she's there. I knew she's there. I thought, okay, we've made peace with it. This is life. And then, of course, seeing her, I felt some type of way. But then, what I'm thankful for is like, I'll feel some type of way for like 2 seconds. Like I'll feel, and then it immediately goes. Like I really thank God for that. And then now I come home, and then being home has just woken up a lot of emotions. Okay, so losing mom, it's just brought so much. I've been in this constant state of sadness, like deep, deep sadness that I cannot explain. And then being home, I hadn't been there in 5 years because the last time we were here was 2019 January. We were here 2018 December, and then January went back, and then 2020 my ex left. So I hadn't come home since he left. Home wasn't home anymore. I had come home to my family. They had asked me to come, but I had not found it in myself to be able to go. Especially, like I did do a video about how, because someone did ask me, how did the in-laws react? And I did an honest video about that. It wasn't a positive video. And I did mention there that this is like, it was very much out of character, the experience that I was having, because I had always been at home. I had always loved the family. They have always loved me. Like I missed them when I was away. Like that was my home. I was 19 when I got married, and I was 18 when I met the family. These were my people. So I had not gone there all that time. And I had come home, and my mind wanted to go home and see mom. But I was here because she has passed. And I'm there. It's familiar and it's not familiar. I felt lost, not because of how I was treated, because I was really, I was welcomed. Like I cannot fault anybody. It was incredibly amazing. The way the children, it was so good to see the children, the nieces and nephews. The cousins. And to be home and mom is not there. And then to be home, like they called the family to the front at the funeral, and I didn't stand. I was on the obituary. The obituary says she leaves her daughters-in-law, and my name is first. My name is first, and then her name is last. So I'm like, obviously, I came first. Someone was like, yeah, it's good. They put you first, and they put her last. I'm like, no, guys. They put us in the order that we came, because it's me, and then it's my brother-in-law's wife, and then it's the cousin's wife, and then she just came, so she's the newbie. So she's last, and my name is first. so that's like plainly, like, in chronological order, not because I was more special or I'm more than Makoto, I belong more. But I must say, a little bit of me felt good about it as well. I saw that, I was like, yes, I'm first. You are last. Don't forget that. You'd better remember that. But at the end of the day, I was just first because I came first. I came in 2000 and she came 2023. So basically, I'm in the obituary, and some of the family members had said to sit with the family. I did end up sitting in the front, but not because I had planned to sit with the family, because the seats were full at the back. And then they opened up like a side door that leads to the seats that are right in the front on the side. So I wasn't quite sitting with the family, but I was sitting right in the front. And the video is going to show me. I really didn't want to be in the video. Like, I didn't want to make my ex uncomfortable or his wife uncomfortable. But his wife was so lovely. She brought me the programs were finished. I had just sat down. She came to me. She stood up. She came to me. That woman was lovely, actually. On Sabbath, which is Saturday, the day before, we went there to eat. I was trying to not go there because my ex, I mentioned in the previous video that he was happy for me to come, but he asked to give him space, to respect his space. He said that specifically. And I didn't know what does that look like. Because we have a moments of co-parenting well, getting well, and then not talking to each other, hating each other. So we were right now in a hating each other phase. And then mom passes. And for him to actually let me know about it when he was not talking to me, it was a huge thing. And thankfully, I had savings because I was about to book to come home for December. And I was extremely homesick. And it just worked out well that let me go home. And my heart wanted to come, pay my last respects, support the family, and support my ex, I know it makes no sense to some people. They'll be like, what? You're more Christian than I could never. So I'm like, guys, it's really for me, this is my mom. This was my mom for 20 years, and I'm really heartbroken. So I am doing this for him, but it's firstly for myself. It's for mom. It's for my children. Then it's for his sister and his brother and his cousins and the nieces and the nephews. Then it's for him. But this man was there for me when my father died. This man was there for me, and I will not forget. I mentioned this in my last video. I will not forget that. Lockdown, everybody was locked in. Rules were you stay in your house, you cannot leave. He broke all those rules to be with me each and every day. And he had already gone. We were already separated, as I've said. He was in my house. When I needed someone, when I needed him, he was there. Now, after all that long background, I'm giving you a picture of my life. We left South Africa 2002 January. We've never been back. My children were born 2003 and 2007. So I've got a 21-year-old and a 17-year-old who were born in the UK. We're now in Australia. We've been in Australia 11 years. I left. At that point, I do remember I had always wanted to go to the UK. We left because we were in debt. So we were going for a year, make money, come pay off our debt, come back home. We were going for a year. That was the plan. We've been gone 20 years. 20 years, yes. 22. We've been gone 22 years. And, it started out being an adventure, and then it became me supporting his dreams. Investing in the family, investing in him, There were lots of moments and opportunities for us to invest in me. But it was not a good idea for him. At one point, there was, like I said, there were lots of moments. At first, I saw where he was coming from. And then at some point, I pushed. I was like, no, I need to study. Because I was married at 19 and I was doing my second year at uni, just technical, Port Elizabeth. And then I never finished. The plan was I leave and then I'm going to go to vets, which was sort of like closer to where he was based. That never happened. And because the way also he was like denying for me to study and whatever, he was not rough about it. He was not mean. He's such a sweet talker. Like he's a sweet man when you don't know him. So, like I understood. Like there were reasons, listen, we need you. And then the kids came. And then I was like, at one point, I even wanted to homeschool. To be fair, at that point, even I preferred to be home. I preferred to be the one looking after my kids because I had no career. So whatever job I found, I did work for like a few months. And then I got pregnant and then I was so unwell. And then I think after that, then I did go back to school to try and study full time. And then, long stories, it's either like then we can't afford for me to continue or he leaves. Like we separated 7 times. Like this is the 7th time that I just let him go. The other times I would fast and pray and rebuke the devil and his mother-in-law, and my husband would come back. God gives you what you ask. The one thing about God will give you what you ask. Whether it's good for you or not, God will give you. If you're asking him for it, you are fasting, you trust him for it, God will give it to you. So be careful what you ask. So I then saw that, okay, let me stay. Because whatever I'm earning, I was working like at the checkout to see whatever I'm earning, all of it is going to pay necessary fees. Makes no sense to me. I was in the mode, like Christian, spiritual mode, where I want my children to fear God, to be like, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Daniel, Joseph. And who's going to teach them that when they're at the nursery? Me, I'm busy checking out groceries. No one. So I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to teach my children about God. I'm going to be home. I'm going to, and that I'm grateful for. Like, we're so close because of that. And my kids really are different. And not because of me, because of the grace of God and how they were brought up. Because I was present, I was home, I was able to, feed into them and, pour into them. So I did stay home, looked after the kids. But then when time came and I was like, "Nee, man, this guy, this is an excuse. No, there's no money. No, there's money. Like, money was there to do his things, but not for me to go study." And I was like, I'm going to study. Whether you like it or not, I'm going. The next day, he was gone. So this was the last separation in 2016. He left 2015. We reconciled 2016. So that was such a hard time. It was such a difficult time. And I decided when he came back, I will not do that again. I am no more standing for my rights. I'm just going to enjoy this man. I'm going to enjoy my marriage. No ways. That was too painful. That was more painful than the others because he actually had moved out. It was the first time. The other times, we were separated under one roof. He'd be in a different bedroom. Actually, sometimes we'd still have sex, and then he'd say to me, he feels like he's cheating on their girlfriend. Hey, guys. Yo. I should go to have been through the most. And I feel so bad as well. I feel like he's cheating on the girlfriend. Hi, guys. Yo, guys, I had zero esteem. I thought so little about myself. Like, he used to fat shame me. He used to, oof. And not in an evil way. Like in a way I'm not even aware. I'm being fat shamed right now. Anything is like, I've gained weight. That time in 2015 when he was gone, I was thin like this. And I still felt fat. I was so thin. The bones were popping. Like I wanted to look the way he was. Like I wanted him to see me. Plus also the girl that he's left me for, she needs to see. It's not because I was fat. Hey, it was me and not eating. Me and no carbs. Living in the gym. That was me. So now, because that time when he was gone, I had suffered so much emotionally. I decided when he came back, I'm no longer complaining about finances. I am no longer complaining about anything. Nothing. I'm just going to enjoy this man. I'm just going to always look on the bright side of life. That will be me. And I enjoyed my marriage, guys. That 4 years, 2016, 2020. You guys saw us, who know us. You saw us. The dancing. I was happy. Like, I was like, this is us. We would talk, we'd take walks, like, love, this is us. It's us. We are happy in marriage, us. Oh my goodness. Like, we were both happy. Or so I thought. Like, but he promises that he was genuinely happy at that time. He was genuinely happy even the day he decided that he doesn't want the marriage anymore. Like, I'm writing a book. I'm still writing this book. Because there was a disagreement that this disagreement. So my ex was someone that you can't say no to. You can't really disagree with. Or if you do, like, you have to disagree in a certain way. So even in my firmness in saying no that day, it was still calculated because I knew how ultra sensitive he is. But I was a bit more free. Like, it was a bit more like, I don't want to mince my words. I don't want you to be confused or to not know for sure that I'm actually saying no. I'm saying no. He didn't like it. But he never told me why he wanted a divorce, because then it was like a month later. He was just not talking to me for a week after that. And then he started talking to me and being nice. But I wanted us to talk. Like, what happened that day? He didn't want to talk about it. And then he was being distant. And then, like, we were like on a quest to start our budgeting and, fix our finances. And we needed to work together and it needed to start. It was like, okay, it's the start of the year. The months are going. We should have started by now. We need to talk. We need to be okay. This needs to happen. And it was at that point when I asked, I said, unless you don't want this marriage anymore. And he said, yes, I don't want this marriage anymore. I said, why? He said, you don't need to know. That's how my marriage ended. And I was like, okay. And I've been left with questions that I've had to fill in answers. And then I've heard stories of, his virgin, what he says, things that are like complete lies that are not even, they never even happened, There was one of the girls that he, was with after he left. She was told I left him. I said, I want a divorce. I am having a boyfriend. I have told him I've never loved him. What was the other one? I can't remember. But so it's been that kind of a thing. Now, this is now my life. My life started out as me going to overseas with my bestie. We left England to Australia. I didn't want to go to Australia. Australia was his dream. I did not want to go to Australia one bit. But I must say, I love Australia. I love the country. I have fallen in love with it. I love it. I love the people. But I went there for him. Now he's gone. I still don't have a career. I still don't have, I the thing I finished is matric. That's what I finished. I was 19, I'm 43 now. And then he doesn't pay child support. He doesn't pay spousal support. We sit down, we discuss how we're going to do this. He doesn't follow it through. He does not pay school fees. I have to come here crying to YouTube. He's a doctor. I was about to say, I'm nothing. I'm not nothing. But I'm financially, I have to start over. I get a job. Whatever I'm earning, simply not enough. Just even to pay for a house that fits 3 people. On top of that, I have to pay school fees. Now I have to get school fee loans. I lose my house because he tells me I'm paying. Don't leave, it's your home. I'm paying, it's your home and the kids. I'm paying the mortgage. My name is on the mortgage. I find out when I get a letter from the bank that we are repossessing. We have not paid for 12 months. 12 months! Since he left, he never paid a cent. And he was telling me he's paying. I approached him. I said, listen, I know the financial situation. There's no way you will afford your place and this place. Let me and the kids go to a smaller place so you can at least afford. He says, no. Don't worry. I'm paying. Don't worry about it. Now, so the reason the bank let him 12 months, context, it's COVID. So we're allowed 6-month break thing. I remember just seeing an email where I'm CC'd. Email from the bank saying we have approved your 6 months break or whatever, COVID, what, I can't remember what it was called. But they were mentioning for 6 months we won't take the mortgage. I was so angry, so upset, because then I scroll down, I see his email to the bank. It's signed his name and Mahadi. I'm like, you never even asked me. You wrote to the bank, you put my name on there. I never asked for this. But I'm breathing. I'm like, okay, I know we can't afford this anyway. So I'm happy that he did this. Now the bank, when it writes to me, we're in areas with 6 months. Because then 6 months after that, when that 6 months lapsed, no money ever came. So altogether it was 12 months because we had the 6 months for COVID relief and then 6 months. This is where now I am. I have at one point, there's a YouTuber that I follow in South Africa. I remember the video that caught my eye. It was when she was saying I can't remember, something like she hates being a mom or something like, I don't remember. And I felt very much like that at that point. Because my kids started feeling like a burden. My kids that I love, my kids that I would kill for, my kids that I would die for. I could not afford them. I could not afford them. And the guilt of their life, how their life has changed. Them having to deal with this. Because part of why I stayed in that marriage, because even though I had won my clubs and said, for these 4 years, I'm enjoying my marriage, I don't want to hear anything. I knew deep down, from before that, even then, even though I was just so focused on staying on the positive, that I was just enjoying my marriage. There had been times where I myself felt like, this is not marriage. And I had thought of leaving, but I thought, the kids, I don't want to put them through that. I had been from a family where my parents were together till death. My parents' marriage was so positive, It was such an inspirational to us. My dad was massaging my mom's feet. I must say, though, my ex massaged my feet. I'll put that in there. He massaged my feet. And that's the one thing I miss. Him massaging my feet. Because my feet need massaging. So, that's the marriage I had always wanted. And then his sister also has such a beautiful marriage. divorce was not an option. What do you mean? Divorce, what's that? We're not divorcing, you know. So I was never going to leave. Like, I was just like, I'm here for these children. I don't want them going through this. Now I'm watching them go through this. I am watching them go through this in such a ruthless way because their dad left and, me and my hands, because their dad left and then he wasn't coming to see them. He lived a kilometer away. He wasn't coming. Yo. Now, here I am missing home. I'm in Australia, things are falling in place. We have been to court. He's now paying school fees. He is paying child support. You know, we had to twist his arm because, like, in Australia, if you owe more than 2,000 in child support, you cannot leave the country. So, yeah, because he could not leave. He had to pay the thousands that he was owing. And now he's consistent now. So now the financial burden, it's a lot more. I can breathe. And yet, I don't want to be alone, like relationship-wise, you know? And I've met such amazing men. And guess where they are? They are here. They're in South Africa. There's one also who was amazing in America. And the UK. Like, I don't know how people do long distance. So anywho, I want to come back home. Because I feel like I stand better chances to meet my forever person, number one. Two, I really want to be with my mom. You know, she's old. She's 74. She's alone. I miss her. I last left home. I left home when I was 11, essentially, going to boarding school. I never came back. I was in boarding school, then I was at uni, boarding school, then I got married, then I was gone. I want to be home. My sister, my brother, my nieces and nephews, my sister-in-law, like, I want to be home. I love my friends, my family, adopted family in Australia. I have such support. Oh my goodness. The love. But they can never replace. They have their husbands, you know? They have their husbands. I always felt like I was never alone. I never felt like I was alone because I had my husband who was my family. I never felt like I was alone. Now, more and more, I'm feeling alone. I want to come back home. And yet, it's such a huge dilemma. It's such a pain. Because I have children. I have children who, for them, this is not home. It's not home. I do thank God, though, like, since we came to Australia, I guess maybe because we have been able to afford to come home a lot more often. Because in the UK, I think there was a time when, like, 5 years would go before we come home because life was so hard. So my children are a lot more closer to their cousins now, you know. So when they come here, they're coming home. They see themselves as South African. Like, in the UK, they were British. You know, having to remind people you are not British. You are African. You are South African. You're not our children. But in Australia, I guess also in Australia, the Africans in Australia are very, very, very African. In the UK, the Africans are British. Like, everyone's trying to be British or aspire to be, or like, by everyone, of course, I don't mean each and everyone. I'm generalizing in case you're watching this and you're like, I'm not like that. I know you're not. But yeah, in the UK, like, I even had a British accent when I lived in the UK because in the UK, you want to fit in. That's just how it is. In Australia, you want to be unique. You you value your uniqueness. You like, I remember a friend of mine in the UK telling me, I think I've mentioned this before, saying, "Oh my goodness, you sound like you're fresh off the boat." It's not funny, but yeah, because as soon as I got to Australia, I became African. I sounded African. I like, even my son, I remember was saying, yeah, because I remember you never used to sound African. So, but then, because my kids also wanting to learn about South Africa and Lesotho, they watch TV, they watch programs, wanting to hear people that sound like home. And they would say, but these people don't sound like that. We go home, they go to the township and they hear people's English, but they're not hearing that on TV. On TV, it's just posh English and multiracial English. And they're like, why? Why don't they have people who speak normally on TV? I was like, wow. That also helped me embrace my accent to be like, okay, because my children wanted to hear people from home and what they sound like. So now I'm here. I'm wanting to come back. My children, their home is Australia. And of course, people keep saying, no, they're old now. Whatever. My children, they're not independent. They're not independent, number one. But I know if they had to be, they could be. It's partly my fault, really. I feel like I've shielded them. That's why, I was telling my brother that I do like it when they go to their dads, because he's not shielding them. Like it's like, yeah, let them feel what life is like, because I'm shielding them. I'm really trying to win them off, but no. Then besides that, I don't want to live away from my children. My children are my friends. They're my friends. I don't want to live away from them. They have no plans to come live here. My daughter right now, she's very musical. She does jazz vocals. She needs my support. But I need to support me. I'm working. I still haven't studied because I can't do both. There's a time I had started because, we're now Australian. So you can study for free, quote unquote, and pay afterwards once you can afford to pay. And very, very low interest rates. Thankfully, it's not like, I don't even think is there even interest rates? It's not like in America, how people start life with such huge debts, study bills. So I did that so that our son can go to uni because we couldn't afford it. So now I went as well. But I had to pull out, guys, because I had no fuel. I had no way of getting there. I drive to work. I used to drive to work, and then I had a class after. And then I couldn't afford it. Because, I'm doing everything on my own. So now there's still that. I can't just come back home, firstly. I need something. A degree, something. What am I going to do when I come here? Then secondly, if I just say, no, I'll go home, I'll see what I do, because my heart wants to be home. I want to be home. What do I do? The children. As I was saying, I'm feeling such parent guilt. My daughter needs someone to be there. She needs opportunity. She needs this. She's incredibly gifted. Does she have opportunities here? She might. Does she want to come here? Maybe not. My children can't even speak the local languages. My fault, yes, our fault, But I have no regrets. Well, I do have regrets, but I have no guilt. Let me put it that way. I used to feel guilty, but I see children in this country who can't speak languages here. You live here, but you only speak English. I'm like, come on now. But for us over there, so many of us, our kids can't speak, which is terrible. Plus us, I remember my mom mom-in-law used to say, what's your excuse, guys? You are both Sotho. How are the children not speaking? But now my kids, like my son can really understand. Like you can't gossip. Yeah. So I'm happy. But now even my daughter now is open now. She wants to learn. I'm like, yes. So now maybe we'll actually start speaking Sotho at home. But yeah, my son has always had that thing. I don't know now that he started learning. I've seen him, he's a lot more confident. He's speaking, even though he has an accent, and he's okay because I've told him it doesn't matter. There is a time when he didn't want to come here because I was like trying to get him to come here for uni. Because at that time we were planning to move back home. And he was feeling so self-conscious and whatever because he can't speak. I'm like, so many people can't speak. People don't care. People at home are not expecting you to know any of the languages. And once you're home, you're going to pick it up so quickly. But he really felt bad that I have a Sotho name. It's even worse. And I can't speak the language, you know. So there's that. They've always sort of like feel like they don't quite belong. But I've seen them moving close to belonging. Like this is home. Like I say, they see themselves as South African. This is home. But they have zero plans to move here. And then if I decide, okay, you stay with your dad, and I come here, firstly, do they want to stay with their dad? Just stay with their dad and never come. Like right now, we're on a trial that we've had that we never solidified. So there is no parenting plan, care plan, for our daughter who turns 18 next year. But they're spending a week with me and a week with him. And I don't know if they would want to spend longer than that, So I feel like it would be unfair on them. At the same time, I feel like they probably need that. At the same time, I want to be there for their big days, weddings, children. I don't want to stay away far from my grandkids. I don't want that. But what do I do? I don't want my mom dying while I'm all the way that way. I want to spend her last days with her. What do I do? I don't want to stay alone, single, and owning a cat when South Africa is raining men. What do I do? Guys, this thing is weighing so heavily on me. Oh my goodness. Yo. So I was in KZN visiting my brother because my mom is visiting my brother. So when we got the news of mom passing, mom-in-law, my mother was on her way to, she was leaving that week to come, to go to Munster, which is KZN, KwaZulu-Natal, where my brother lives. So that meant that's where I spend my time when I'm here at home. That's where I was the whole time. And I escaped Lesotho winter. What do you even mean? It was -2 today. And, KZN was 12. So, it's been such a beautiful retreat, such a beautiful time spent with mom, spent with my brother, my sister-in-law, their kids, my nieces. Hi, guys. I know you'll be watching. I miss you already. We've just parted this morning and I came straight to the studio and I miss you guys. When I got on the plane, as soon as it took off, because then my mom is also going back to Lesotho today. So she got an Intercape going to Vicksburg. I've been sad since this week started, like today's Thursday. I've been sad just thinking that I'm leaving. I've been every time holding back tears, having a lump in my throat during prayer times. And as soon as that plane took off, I couldn't hold back the tears. I want to come home. I can never say it enough. Words cannot describe enough how much I want to come home. And how much I want my kids to be with me. And I want them to be with their dad as well. And that can't happen. The last I knew, he was moving home. He was coming here. And that was excellent. So once he's moved, to be easier to convince the kids, like, let's just go home. Maybe 2 years, 3 years, who knows? And then you guys can go back, whatever. Now the wife has gone to Australia. I'm thinking, I thought this person's going home. Now I don't know. And of course, as I said, I can't just, pack up and go. Like, firstly, I do need to wait for her to be 18. And then now it's like, okay, I need a plan, because I was telling my brother how I feel. He was like, look, you just need to make a plan. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, I need 3 years, 4 years study, like start something. I'm like, 3 years, 4 years, when people's parents are just dying like this, 3 years, 4 years is so long. Is there a way? Like, I'm like, where was I going? I have thought like that, like, where was I going? Where was I going? Because I wouldn't be in this whole, if I just stayed home, we would all be here. Like, I remember there's been people who have left. There was this family friend, they left the US, they came home. And there was someone who was saying, you know how like people are so negative. They were saying, there's no way you could just leave the US and come home. They must be broke or whatever. They must be running away from something. And we have other friends as well who left the UK. But we've always envied them because we wanted to come home, but we were never financially ready to come home. And I have put also on my WhatsApp, status, how much I want to come home. And someone said, Africa is for people who have money. This is someone who lives in Australia. I said, Australia is the best place if you don't have money. Africa, you have to have money. And that has been the experience like we have had. Like, I remember when we lived in the UK and came home after a long time, and there was now this BEE. All our friends are rich. We have nothing. We're like, whoa, what has happened? Like, we can't fit in. Like, we can't come back. We can't. Like, at that point, we wanted to come home. And even our friends in the UK were like, you can't go back, guys. People are dying. People are struggling in Africa. We have seen people that are not struggling in Africa. People are living. But the thing is, how do we get that piece, the piece of that pie? How do we get there? People have moved along so much. Like people who were, but when like people are now rich. We're like, we go visit people in mansions. We're like, so how are we gonna get there? And then, we're like, repair hantle, no man, we don't have to be at those people's level. We can just come home and start over because we missed home so much, But we're like, no, maybe a few more years, let's save up. Where? But that has always been there, wanting to come back home. Now I'm in this huge dilemma, which is extremely painful, which I have cried about. Sometimes I'm like, my goodness, what do I do? The pain. This is the pain of this whole dilemma. I do not know what the solution is. I don't know what's meant to happen. Because my mother will not come to Australia. She will not come to Australia. Because there are people like, bring mom over. My mother, go to Australia. Where? She doesn't want to. She doesn't even want to come visit me. Like, planes, traveling. She'd be like, I don't want to come to your homes and then what? I'm like, I'm alone now. You can come. You won't be in the way of our marriage or whatever. I'm alone. But then also, it's not just mom. There's my sister, there's my brother, there's, his family, my sister's family, my nieces and nephews. There's my friends. I actually have friends. There's my whole life. I have a life here. So I can't just, for me, it's not like, just bring mom over. But of course, mom is the main reason, I guess, because of her age. She's the one I'm thinking, death. I'm so afraid. Like, that's the thing that used to terrify me the most, losing one of my parents. Like, I never thought, I was always afraid of it, seeing people's parents die. And I'm still trying to come to terms with my father dying. And the thing is, I don't even know how I would handle my mom dying. Like right now, with my mom-in-law dying, I'm so affected by it. I cannot believe it. I have cried before. I have cried during, like, I have cried. I still cry. I have cried after the burial. I have cried looking at her pictures. I just feel like I cannot handle losing anyone else. I cannot. But I don't know what to do. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to share today. To get out of my system, to just let me know if you feel, if you relate, if you thoughts, solutions. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I have quite a lot of you that do relate. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. I hope it makes sense. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. I love you. But remember that God loves you even more. And that is true. Do not forget to subscribe. And yeah, truly thank you for watching. If it was your first time here, I hope you'll join the family by subscribing. Love you guys. Ciao, ciao. Hala, you've watched everything. Thank you so much for watching everything. Now don't forget to subscribe and go back to my other videos and scroll and watch everything. There's very good things in here, very good interesting things. You are number one. Now thank you and take care of yourself.